Well, and that gets to my next question, but I want to set this up by saying, to be clear, I don't think that the Boston police were intending to sort of trample on people's rights, or I just think it wasn't at the front of their mind. They were concerned about the unknown, and so they were going to do whatever they could, and if they could get to the local community to sort of go along and not scream for search warrants or not invoke the Fourth Amendment, the police were happy with that. I guess you raised my sort of next point, though, and that is this was a kid who was eventually found under that boat tarp with no gun. He didn't have a weapon on him, which of course nobody knew at the time, but okay. But he was a 19-year-old kid. What happened? I mean, imagine a situation where there's a whole group of people who have carried out some sort of terrorist attack. I mean, is it appropriate for us to sort of shut down, lock down a major city in the United States and encourage the police to do whatever they want in terms of searching for those suspects?
Well, the police are always going to be geared toward using the maximum power. There's nothing wrong with them doing that. That's what they're supposed to do. But that's the reason that we're supposed to have other institutions that push back against that so that we have a balance, such as courts or the media or government officials who are supposed to tell the police, you can't do whatever you want in pursuit of a criminal or in order to find someone dangerous. There are other considerations besides safety and security that the society values. And, the question that you're asking really almost in some sense has already been answered. I mean, in the wake of the 9/11 attack, where 19 people with box cutters caused incredible levels of suffering and damage, I think it's pretty clear that the country collectively did overreact in all sorts of ways, enacting new laws that give the government vast powers of retention and surveillance, starting a war against a country that had nothing to do with those attacks, creating a worldwide torture regime, creating a pretty oppressive climate in the United States. One would like to think that we've learned the lesson from that, but the reason we don't is because fear is a very primitive and powerful human motivator. And if you have the media stoking that fear, if you don't have responsible leaders trying to put it into perspective, it can very easily get out of control, as I think we saw in Boston that it did.
And the media and our political leaders, they are playing right into this fear that the terrorists obviously want. I mean, the terrorists, they know they can't, kill everybody. They can't, eventually they're going to be caught or their plot's going to come to an end. But what they're banking on is frightening everybody. That's the point of terrorism. And when we react the way that we have to 9/11 by, okay, now we all have to take off our shoes when we board an airplane, and you can't bring liquids onto an aircraft, and constant security, and we, don't worry about the police having to have a warrant when they search your house when they're chasing terrorists. When we're that afraid, aren't we doing exactly what terrorists want us to do?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you think about the 9/11 attack, even as the planners of that attack were dreaming about it working as well as it possibly could, they knew that there could not be anywhere near enough damage imposed on the United States to cause any real, lasting economic or nationalistic harm. I mean, even if you kill 3,000 people, collapse a couple of buildings, in the scheme of the U.S. economy and U.S. power, it's a tiny fraction of what you would need to do. They don't have the capability to firebomb our cities or to engage in massive carpet bombing attacks. But what Osama bin Laden always said before the 9/11 attack and what al-Qaeda's philosophy was that the strategy would be to attack the United States and try and provoke it into extreme overreaction, to have it spend huge amounts of money attacking the Muslim world, occupying the Muslim world, putting in huge security apparatuses that are extremely expensive, essentially exhaust itself and bankrupt itself as previous empires have done in the name of this extreme fear that has been created. That's the purpose of terrorism, is to create fear and cause the target to engage in self-destructive behavior. And exactly as you said, when you start immediately shutting down a huge American city, you not only show the kind of weakness that will encourage further acts of terrorism, or look at how easy it is to shut down one of their major cities, but you also start doing to yourself far more harm than terrorists could ever do to you.